Now I'm live. Okay, so let me just do that real quick. Okay, so about today's live shenanigan, gonna be going on about using a candle that's already pre-scented. These are easily readily available, like at a supermarket, gift shop, yeah, Walmart. Yeah, you get the idea. And these scented candles, like they come in all sizes. Can they actually be used magically, or okay? Or is it a waste of soy wax, paraffin wax, beeswax, even palm wax? Is it just a waste of wax and we can't use them magically? Well, that's what this little live stream is going to be about. So I'm going to give a little bit for people to come flocking in a little. And while that's going on, I'm going to be grabbing all the little things I need to actually make sure that this is actually done to my standard of making magical woozy boo things. So grab a few more things that I'm going to be needing. I'm going to need that. Okay. I'm going to need you. Yeah, your work. You'll do. Sorry, just hit the microphone. So keep your weave on. I'm going to need that one. Yeah. Nah, not that one. Nope. No. No. I don't need you though. Don't need you. I can get out of my way. Don't need that one. That can skedaddle and piss it. But let's scroll down. Yep, definitely you. That one. Yeah, I'll use that one. That one's a definitely a must and without question. I believe over you. You are not what I need. You are a hindrance. Get all that. Let's see. I need that. And that. Yoink. Okay. I think on my never mind. I have two more things to grab. Two more things, and then we can get this shenanigan thing on the road. Okay. Where is my bloody leak? Oh, there it is. There's one of them. There's that. Oh, perfect. Right next to it. Yeah, thanks, brownies. You're making it nice and easy today. No, that doesn't mean you can start messing with me. Don't start messing with me, brownies. Don't you do it. Love you guys to death, but don't, please don't do that. Please don't. Okay, that should have been. So, I got all my pigeons lined up, except I'm going to need something to go squish with. When in doubt, okay, looks like we're going to use the magical thing called improvision. Give me something that has a big caboose to go smashy with it. I said something big, not something tiny. Like my cupcake, it's got to be bigger than my thumb. Come on now. Bigger than the thumb. Anything at all. Anything. That's bigger than the thumb. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, screw it. Then I'll just use something like this. Okay. So, The big question. Can we actually use pre-scented candles, especially if it's like, yeah, my nose is running off for big. Keep it on the leash, I know. Hello, Angela, and hello, Mika. Okay, let me see. Make sure I get. Okay, yeah, we're good. So can we actually use a pre-scoochie? Not pre-scoochie, but get that out of the way and out of my life. Can we actually use a pre-scented candle like this one that's called Black Sands, made by True Living Essential? And it doesn't matter what the brand is, but so can we use this magically? Well, honestly, duh, of course you can. Just because it's already pre-scented doesn't mean anything. In fact, it kind of provides a bit of a help to what the scent and the intention is that you're trying to have. And again, keep in mind, a lot of people don't talk about this. They'd rather just stick to the thing that everybody's regurgitating with. Depending on how the scent is to you, if it doesn't smell good, if it's not pleasant, that scent instead can actually be used for hexing work, baneful work, or workings that, not the nicest. And that depends on person to person. But if you have one that actually smells all good and woozy woo feeling, like this one, then it can actually be used for beneficial work. And depending on like what the scent is, because this one has the scent of coconut water, sandalwood, vanilla, and orchid. And if you're familiar with how the plants are and how each plant has its own unique energy to it, then that actually provides some help to you. Even if it's like perfume instead of essential oil that's actually put into the wax, doesn't matter. That's still the scent. Even though it's like a generic fake scent. Okay, let me go back. Let me see. Yeah. So before we even do anything with this, well, first off, hand me my selenite shtick. Just to make sure. You're probably thinking, why are you slapping the candle on its tush? It's simple. Okay, the lid's off. This thing has. You have no idea what's on this thing. Just purchased this thing, picked it up off the shelf. You don't know if the person or anybody else might have been like, I hate everybody, and then just been all over with it. So when you actually have it be like this, lid off, facing away from you, and then you actually take either hand and just smack it, the impact causes a shock wave, a vibrational shock wave through whatever you're smacking, and the energy gets dispersed. Also, that's why I like with sound healing and using singing bowls. The sound that's emitted is a sound wave that goes in contact and causes the separation of energy that's like stuck to it. I'm gonna forget measure. Okay, we're good. So now that this thing is neutral, we now can do whatever we want with it. So coconut water. Well, the thing is, coconut as a plant, it's a moon plant. And you're probably thinking, okay, well, how's it a moon plant? Within the coconut is actually the coconut milk. And that's one of the key words regarding why it's a moon plant. Milk is a nourishment. And also the coconut is also related to the sign of Cancer, because Cancer has the shell, the protective outer shell. And within is the motherly need to nurture something and protect something and safeguard something. So, right there, coconut and then the water within it. So this, for the first ingredient or the first part of the scent, you have a protective need to safeguard, but also nourish emotionally, whatever the intention is. So, say for an example, right there we have the energy of Cancer influencing it. So Cancer, as a zodiac sign, is about the divine mother. But within the nakshatras of Cancer, you have Zu, Pushya, and Aslesha. Purnafasu, Return of the Light, that's the story of Lord Ram being exiled and then coming back with his king and having assistance from Lord Hanuman, his most devoted and pretty much stand-bying devotee. Then you have Pushya, which is the emperor of the nakshatras, is one of the most prosperous ones. It's actually also owned by Saturn, believe it or not. And the Purnapasu, that one's actually ruled by Jupiter, and that one's pretty tough. And then the last one is Slatia, which is actually ruled by Mercury, and Slatia is all about the Nagas, all about the Kundalini and being able to also use workings that involve venom transformation or using toxins or poisons or using some kind of medicinal way to actually mend and heal something. So with coconut, already with all that being infused into that, we can actually either have an energy that goes with essentially something coming back after a long period of being away, because that's Purnivasu, that's within Cancer and Gemini. We can even use Pusha for like the most prosperous and also known as the emperor of the nakshatras, the great nourisher. Or we can go about the route of Aslesha, which is actually using serpentine or in pretty much seduceful ways of actually having the intention be supported. Think of like again the Nagas. And that's just one ingredient. The next ingredient is sandalwood. Now sandalwood, that varies depending on what religious background and where you're yielding the associations from. But as a whole, sandalwood is related to Buddha or Mercury. So we have the energy of communication. And also sandalwood is also used to consecrate something. So when you consecrate something, you're giving the effect to it and you're making it hold the effect. You're giving a certain object or item an attention and then it holds it. And then it carries it out whenever you use it. So being sandalwood, there is this quality of Buddha, which is Mercury being adaptable, and as well as also being curious and being able to act fast because that's Mercury. So on top of that, you have a quick consecration of the intention going into the real world. And then last but not least, we have vanilla and orchid. So let's see, we'll start with vanilla first. Vanilla as a plant is ruled by Venus, but also the moon. But why the moon? The, the flower of a vanilla bean or the vanilla plant is white. And moon, believe it or not, is also a planet that's extremely lustful. Very lustful in both desiring something to obtain something and longing for something, and the other kind of lusting, like the nasty kind. Vanilla is actually known for that ability to, you catch the drift, motivate that side. But the Venus part, vanilla can also be used for artistry, culinary arts. In fact, it's the one of the most common flavors of like ice cream and the such, and cookies. So you can also say vanilla is also a plant naturally that can get someone pretty much hooked on you or hooked on it because the extreme of the extreme part of Venus or Shukra is also addiction, believe it or not. And when you are addicted to something, you must have it, otherwise you can't function. With vanilla, same thing. So now we have the energy of that being infused in this, and also the addiction to being like longing for something put into it. Then orchid. Now, orchid as a plant is also a moon related plant because it's, again, a lustful plant, a beautiful plant, but it can also be seen also as, again, a Venus plant. But orchid has that kind of potency and bit of a to it. it gives that kind of motivation to catch my drift. So putting it all together, the scent of this is essentially something related with anything involving with seduction, or essentially seducing somebody who might have gone away to come back, and with sandalwood causing the consecration of this intention onto the earth and having it move fast because that's mercury. And then the vanilla and the orchid, well, the vanilla to actually have them become like intoxicated and like must have this. And then the orchid for the, the nasty, love tap to the tush. And I haven't even added anything to this yet. I haven't added a single thing to this yet. I'm just going all by the scent. And since now we know the general starting point of this, candle where it's standing, it seems to be a candle that can be superb in returning a lost lover or returning somebody who you might have fallen out with in a very, quick and nasty and, mating season kind of a way. And then they get hooked on you. And again, I did not add anything to this. I just took the lid off and used my head to explain it. How each planet and each graha can influence it. Okay. Now, usually, but then again, this all depends on you. They want to go through the trouble. Usually, you would want to remove any stickers on it, especially the one on the tush. Yeah, they can get that out of your life. And you can also get away with the stickiness that's right here. You can put something over the top of it. Or if you want to be extra clever, which I'm going to be doing, actually just take a Sharpie and actually put like a sigil on it of the intention, and then you put tape over it. That way it doesn't go anywhere. And you probably think, but what if we can't see it like on that thing? Well, it's simple. That's why you have this lovely thing called paper. You put it on the paper, and then that way. Without further ado, now let's actually get to making this thing. The heck? Don't know what this is, but away with it. So without a further ado, that sounds so bad. Let me grab my tape. And one more thing. See if I can find it. Okay, brownies. Where's my bloody tape? Oh. It's like they already knew I needed it and they put it right in front of my face again. Go figure. Okay then. I now just need. Give me that. There's one more thing I'm thinking about. No, I'm not going to use that one. Instead, hold that note. Okay, Bernice, where's that brown paper bag I had about a few minutes ago? I know I had it because I was looking at it. Oh. Thank you. Okie dokie. So, before I continue, does anybody else have any questions on like how in the heck I was able to actually reason out the scent and how it actually makes sense? Any questions about that before I keep going through, or are we all a-okay? And I can resume. Okay, what's your question, Kayla? I just learned to don't eat popcorn because I got some kernel shells stuck in my teeth a little. Anyway. last. That's a good idea. Okay, to give me. Well, it was a good idea until I realized, like, oh, never mind. The cake's a lie. Don't listen to it. Ew. So what I said is essentially, well, going off based on what the scent is of a candle and what the scent is being made of: coconut water, sandalwood. Stop. Sandalwood. Yeah. You going by intuition with it, and also go. Do we have to bang everything? God, this is what makes me mad. But anyway. But anyway, intuitively, but also recalling generally what a plant is known to do. But again, it all depends on each individual person because one person may smell, vanilla and think, oh, nasty. And then somebody else might get like, with it. So it all just depends on the person that's actually using the candle and the scent and all that. So it can be very variable. All comes down to the individual. Really. But anyway, so okay. So first and foremost, before I do anything, I'm going to take this, put that there, scooch this right there, get it out of the way. And now pretty much I'm going to put all the plant things together, the dry stuff together first. So we have a Morty, well, little, this sounds so bad. I have a little Morty boat, because it looks like a boat, like a kind of a canoe looking thing. And essentially, I'm going to be putting in a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another mixture. So essentially 6 things altogether that's dry. So the first thing I'm going to plop in here is the saffron thread. Well, saffron as a plant. Essentially, when saffron comes into contact with any kind of love plant, be it beneficial or, a little bit corrosive, like if you put saffron with rose, licorice root, and calamus root, it's still going to pretty much buff, excuse me, it's going to buff and power the whole mixture. And saffron makes love and any kind of emotional spell work like that quadruple in potency. And yes, even though I just kind of gave away the next ingredient, yes, a little bit of calamus root. Why calamus root? Well, calamus root is known to be able to do 2 to 3 things. First one, it is known to be a really no nonsense kind of a root. Meaning, if calamus root was a domination or a control kind of a plant, it would pretty much behave like this. Okay, you're going to do this. You don't get a choice, you're going to do it, right? Yeah, kind of. That's the closest that I can best describe it. Goes for the throat and says, hey, Cupcake, you're going to do this right now. No ifs, ands, buts, or tushies, good. Then when you add the licorice root next, the licorice root, not the licorice candy, that's different. Hold on, I'm going to grab a belated object. Hand me the metallic pokey thing with a handle. Thank you. Now licorice root. Licorice root is similar to calamus root, but it's a bit more passive. If calamus root isn't the one that's not afraid to be all like, you're doing it, licorice root is more, why don't we just make it simple and just do what I want you to do? Let's just do what I want. It's so much easier. I know you'd agree. It's much more calm and way more passive. But it still gives that feeling of like, Yeah, it's easier your way. It's not as in the face like calamus root. Okay. And when you have a root like this, do we have to bang stuff like that, please? Do we have to do it like that? Can we not? Thank you. But anyway, you don't need much. You just need, if it'd be so kind to just, even just like a little bit of like I almost said root dust, but the shavings, that's good enough. That's plenty. I'm gonna put this blighted object away so I don't accidentally poke myself with it. Put that there. Alrighty, our next thing is I'm gonna put a few little things of myrrh with it. Now myrrh can either myrrh can either be used for protective work or pretty much unhex or pretty much mitigate any kind of baneful workings on something, but it's also a magic enhancer. It enhances the working that you're using it for. Big, small, don't matter. If it's magical and woozy wooey and that kind of a thing, it'll help with it. There's also wow, I couldn't do that again if I tried to actually jump out of the bottle and landed in there. I guess it wants to be burned and squished. Then the DB, Dragon's Blood, but I'm only going to be using the powder, not a big hunk piece. Dragon's Blood, protect, can be used for protection work, love work, and a good magical motivator, meaning that it enhances magical work. And if you actually are able to make ink out of it, it's also good for writing out intentions with a quill pen. And it also can be used as a substitute for real, life red tomato juice. And then last but not least, this little mixture that Kendra made me a while ago. I still have some of it left. I'm going to plop it in there too. What's in it? I don't know, but it's potent. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, hurry up again. In you go. Out you go. Get out of there. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, we're going to roll it up. Plop that there. Over here, Hanky and Panky. You're going to go over here. Just trying to think if there's anything else I'm going to put in there that I can think about. I think I do. Hold on. Yeah. Also going to put a little pinch of wormwood. Wormwood? Why are you putting that in there? Wormwood also has the potential to grant visions and instill visions into something. Like I've always said, I always make plant monstrosity mixtures. This is going to be nothing more than just my squisher. So there you go. And me personally, whenever I go a squishy with the dried herbs, resins, and the whatnot, I tend to just a squishy them all together, and I don't really say stuff out loud. I just say it in the head. Because even when I'm speaking right now, I'm actually saying the thing that I'm wanting to have happen in my head over and over and over and over and over again until I'm done squishing stuff. And you get back in there. Okay. So there's that. I really gotta stop making stuff that's a bit potent. Because yeah, that's a mixture that I gotta be really careful with. Then I'm gonna actually add 2 essential oils to it. First one is gonna be juniper berry. Juniper berry as a plant. I like to call it the little tiny terror, the little tiny battering ram of terror. Because juniper berry, say if you have something that's like really like to the depths of something and it's being like held onto, juniper berry in a nutshell. Yeah, it's the best way to explain it. It's also a male enhancer, if you catch my drift. Add 2 drops to it. Okay, Cupcake, come on. Come on, while I'm young. Geesh, why did you do that the first time? Okay. And last but not least, the pinky pepper. Pink pepper is a plant. It's a very flirty, carefree, heartwarming plant. It's actually not part of the pepper family, believe it or not. It's also a lustful and kind of a plant. So let's add 3 into it. And 30,000 years later. One, 2, one more drip. 3. Good. Yeesh. That's the thing with like dropper bottles. Sometimes it's like I kind of don't want to leave my my bottle. Well, Cupcake, I didn't ask you. You're gonna okay. And when it leaves, it just goes 20 drops. Because why not? Then I'm just gonna gingerly shake it and not make it go on the floor, just to mix it up a little bit. Probably thinking about why are you smacking it? It's how you mix the stuff in there sometimes, and you don't give it a motivating slap. You don't know because if you do that, it's gonna go flying and you're gonna make a bit of a whoopsie. Wow. Okay, that just made it even more potent. So now the fun part. You can use something like a pair of scissors or just something long and pokey. In this case, I'm going to use a clear quartz. And now you get to poke holes in it. You're probably thinking, okay, but what is poking holes going to do? When you poke holes in it and you add your oils and your dried herbs to it, when you put it around, when the candle burns, if it gets clogged, the holes in it will actually help the candle go down and actually push the herbs up to be burnt and assist the flame. But because since how this is actually in the shape of a triangle, the wicks, watch carefully. First things first, I'm going to draw and outline a triangle right there with the clear quartz. But why are you using a clear quartz to do it? Clear quartz can do whatever the heck you want it to do. You just got to tell it. But if you don't tell it to do anything, when in doubt, by default, it'll amplify whatever it comes into contact with. So this candle, everything I just said about it, gets amplified because the clear quartz hits the wax. And now you're thinking, okay, well, there's a triangle now, but what about the holes? Take your pokey poke. You don't hit the wick. You go A little bit slightly behind it. 1, 2, 3. And now, depending on like the size of the candle, for example, this one is a bit of a wide. This one has wide hips. That's the best way I'm going to put it. But for a vigil one, you would want to go a lot lower than how low I'm going. I'm not even going all the way down. Because with the vigil, it's thin and it's long. So you have to go a little bit lower. This one, not so much. And since there's 3 wicks, it won't need that much help with it. Now the fun part. We get to add now the magical oils to it. So essential oil wise, well, we've already added that. And since that's already included in the herbs enhancing that, we don't need to put those in. Instead, we put in the magical ones instead. So, you're thinking, splendid. Now what are we going to use to grease this up with then? Well, let's see. Where do we start? Well, for first off, let's start with nowadays. If people see this, they think, "Oh my gosh, that's offensive." No, it's not. It's just what the mixer's called. The first oil I'm putting in here is my own mixture of the Q oil. And before someone says, QAnon oil, really? No, not that kind of Q. That Q is useless. This actually stands for queer oil. And is actually used for a male to attract another male or have a romantic connection. That's the point of it. So, now you're thinking, okay, so now how are we going to get this in there? Well, simple. You don't have to get it directly in the hole at first, as long as it makes contact and you try and put at least 3 drops in it. In this case, since I don't want to whiff it, I'm just going to put it on the edge of glory. Couldn't resist. Let it just roll out easy. Okay, there's 1. Then we do again with the 2. And then the 3 on the other side. But what if I want to grease my finger with it and then you just, rub it in? What if I want to do it that way? Well, you do whatever you deem fit. Whatever works for you, splendid. Whatever doesn't work for you, we'll piss it with it. Next one is the Man Dominator. Now, Man Dominator, look at it this way. It doesn't have to be like stupid man thing. If you're going to do what I say. If you don't, sorry, Adam. No. This can actually be used for mental work and actually overpower a man's thought process. It all just depends on the intent with it. So, add 3 with it again. One and a 2. Get in there. And a 3. There to go. Got it. Okay, we only have 1, 2, 3 left. It's not going to be too oily with it. Now this one, the Benjitushi over. This one is dominating to a point where it pretty much makes whoever's getting tushy exposed. Yeah, they kind of are even willing to subjugate themselves to humiliation just to do whatever. Oh, what it is, what it is. I love the smell too. There's a 1. And a 2. And a 3. Get out of there. Splendid. Okay. So I already put like 3 bottles of that in there. What I'm going to do now is just simply rotate it around like that, so that way all the oil gets all oily and all greased. Stop blowing it outside. God. Sorry, the wind's blowing too hard. Okay, yourselves, can you not, blow that hard, please? Yes, I know it looks a little bit weird for me to be doing that with a candle instead of using my finger to grease it all. But there we go. Okay, 2 more left. Next one is the Alliop Man Tamer. Nope, it's just a win. Or eat the sylphs. They're like, hey, please don't. Now for this one, the next two, just to demonstrate, you simply just do this. Well, you take the cap off, obviously. You don't go like, it's not coming out by, keeping the cap on. Use your head. 1, 2, 3. Then you just go, start on one wick, go down, to the side, and back up. Just pretty much reinforce that little triangle thing. And then the next one, the bound to me one. And again, obviously, remove the lid, get your finger apparatus, grease 1, don't break your wrist, 2, a 3. And just for good measure, twirl it around a little bit. And now, in case of any of the oil decides, I'm going to just kick and sit right here, well, you're going to have to get fingery with it, and just move it around a little so that way it's not like, I don't want to get burned. Nope. No. Now I actually made the scent even more powerful. Okay. So now, the dry herbs. Now, I'm gonna add, and also try to get them in like around the holes if you can. If not, doesn't matter as long as they get in there. Honey bear. Having me a drink here. Very funny. You're very funny. You know that? And no, that's not a good way of me saying very funny. Come on, milkshakes. Time to escoochie the tushy. Get out with you. Okay, but leave me no choice. Upside down and smack. Go like that, gonna go like that, gonna go like this, that, whoop. Gonna just gingerly put it right there, gonna have that go over there, gonna have that just be a little bit more spread out. Okay, just for good measure. Okay, I'm gonna grab a handkerchief or something to wipe my finger off. Okay, so get that, throw that out of the way. Then get a pen and then Sharpie. The heck, dude! I just had that other thing that I was going to use, and now, in front of the face again. Brownies, I love it when you do that. Where the heck is mine in front of my face? Okay. Also going to add purple glitter to it. Glitter? Really? Oh, yeah, you add an extra bedazzle, making it extra. Not really. Actually adds color element to it. Purple is not only a powerful color of power, It's also one of control, and it's also authority and self worth. So, just a little bit of it, if you'd be so kind to come out of the shaky bottle. Just going to bring it up around, bring it around like that. And then we're going to tell this thing to go and get out of my life. Then, last but not least, we're now going to symbol to put on this thing. First and foremost, piece of paper, something to actually make this thing. So, of course, now you think of the intention. Try and make it a one-liner. Let's see here. Okay, so here's that nice long thing. If you're not really that creative making sigils or something, you might want to make it even shorter than that. But because now what you do, you have to go and grab every consonant out of this lovely hot mess. So don't pop things, please. So let's see here. We have give me one of those. Give me one of those. That. That. So yeah, we have quite the Dean's list of letters now. So let's see. This is thing that's over the dark. Okay, just a little jackass. Well, it's a good thing I got a spare. No, at least I thought I did. Just use moi, moving out of the way. Yeah, they're left, please. Thank you. Right, now there is that. So voila, I got it. So now, gonna remove it. Something like that, like that. I could just, tape it on there, but that's not how I operate. So instead, gonna just draw it by sight under the glass. You probably think, but how are you gonna draw it on there? You don't even know what's gonna make it on there. Don't question me. I'm not that new here. Okay. Ready? Drawing it all on there by just looking at it. Okay, we have there's that. So go down just a tad more. I'm gonna have it go like that. And the actual advantage too, when you actually draw it on like this, and if you're actually using like a magical tool to draw it on, this way people won't be able to detect what you're using it for, or detect what is actually really meant to be doing, because they can't see it. And yes, you can do the exact same thing even with like a wand of some kind, like a regular pointed wand, crystal wand. You really just draw it on there with just the wand and no ink, just as another option. Voila. You're probably not going to be able to see it because, yeah. Well, no. The tape part. Whoops. That slipped. But why the tape though? What's the tape going to do? Well, simple. If I have to relocate this thing, I don't have to worry about the symbol being removed and nothing happening to it. Why even worry about it if you can't see it? The lovely thing about the occult is that what works for somebody and how they like to practice and how they go about it, how it works for them is all that matters. But if you actually are able to see it, then having, tape over it prevents it from being like rubbed off, massaged off, or the whatnot. So now this thing that's actually on there, all pretty much I have to do is really just activate it on this little piece of paper or cardstock. And now it's active. So now, okay, tape dispenser. That's what you get for trying to knock over one of my oils over, you bloody twat. But anyway, so now whenever I'm ready to get this thing turned on by just obviously lighting it, I could just simply just light it and just have it do its own thing, but that's not how I work. I'm actually going to also make a grid around it, and not just use this basic bitch word sparks. No, I actually use magical, like I don't like calling it sacred geometry because it's just like it's just geometry. It's just It's just a bloody triangle, okay? Or a bloody square, a bloody circle, a bloody rhombus, a bloody trapezoid, or a bloody oval, or it's a bloody infinity symbol. That's just what it is. So, that is an example of how, at least one of the ways that you can actually prepare and already send a candle and already have the intentions put in there. Any question whatsoever? Any at all? If not, then I'm going to be ending the stream, and then I'll be restarting the stream, just having like a hangout and random Q&A of whatever. And also, maybe I might do some reads too, maybe. And now I'm going to get that and take that and throw that out of my life. Oh. Okay, let's see. I'm having hot flashes. 10, 9. Yes, that's how I like to explain stuff. Keep it simple, because the more simple you keep it, the less headache you get. And now, don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying to be very... I saw that. You ain't slick. I didn't know if you actually saw something just appear behind me all like, hey, come on, Cupcake. Try a little harder next time. But sometimes it happens. Yes, what's your question, kid? Oh, that's where my bloodstone went. Well, with glitter, the thing with glitter, when you add it to a working, it does add the color magic element to it. You know, if you want attention, you can just ask for it. You don't have to be making funny faces at me. Just saying. So, the thing with glitter, essentially, when you apply it to a magical working of any kind, especially if you're putting it on a candle, depending on what color it is, when you're actually burning, like, say, like a vigil or a jar candle. But the thing is, when you have a candle with a rainbow glitter on it, you're actually having those colors the rainbow colors, each specific one. What they represent is now being infused into the working. So, take for example, you have blue. You now have healing being applied to it, mending being applied to it, peace being applied to the working. You have red. You have energy being applied to it. You have green. You have growth being applied to it. You have yellow. You're having happiness being put into it. You have orange. You have expansion. You have obstacle removal being put into it. You have purple. You have authority being put into it. Power being put into it. Then you have white. You have whatever needs to be applied being put into it. And that's pretty much the advantages of using rainbow glitter. Because you're not bound and you're not stuck with just one color. You do it again, you ain't gonna like me. Stop it. Just gotta love it when they do that. glitter for pyromancy? Well, because when you're burning a candle that has glitter in it, when a candle sets, yeah, because what you're doing is when glitter makes contact with the flame, and when the flame actually does have a bit of a push to it, if that makes sense. Like when it gets big and then the energy goes within and it pushes back out. When the glitter actually hits like a wall, if it's in glass encased, it'll actually show, like, for example, say if you're burning a glass encased and there's glitter up here and it gets stuck at the top, that does show actually immediately there's going to be movement. And as it goes down, it shows how much longer it's going to take for it to come into the real world and take effect. Just an example. But if it's not, doesn't have like a gas, doesn't have gas encased, a glass encasing around it, pretty much it will assist the fire in because it's flammable. Anyway. Nope, other than that, I believe that is. Of course, my phone would do that. Because why not? What in the bloody? If it sparks, well, again, it'll just probably, because I mean, as far as I've seen candles that actually had glitter in the sparks, it's just like small sparks. Make sure there's nothing flammable close by. Because what you can do, you can actually get something like so. If I can find it. Let's put it away. But what you can do is take something like a Scoochie or Tushy. A Scoochie out of the way. Thank you. You can easily take something like this and fixate it to the bottom. So now the candle is going to be fixated in this thing, and then when the candle burns, if it sparks, it's going to go, it'll be contained. And that's also a good measure to protect any kind of magical work you're doing with it. Having it be glass encased by like a protective thing. But anyway. So, I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm just going to take my leave now, and screwed. I'll make another room and do some rays. So I'll see you in like a few seconds, or a few minutes.